how has politics changed or not, going back to Watergate and the Nixon era? And some of you may remember this. The day Nixon resigned, August 9th, 1974, the night before he'd gone on television and said he was going to resign the next day. And then the next day, he called all of his top aides, cabinet, and friends to the East Room of the White House and gave a speech that was televised on national television live. It was Nixon raw. There was no text. He was sweating. He was understandably overwrought. He was going to have to give up the presidency, which he had worked all of his life to get to. And he talked about his mother. He said his mother was a saint. He talked about his father. He read from Teddy Roosevelt's diary, in which Roosevelt said that when his wife died, the light had gone out of his own life forever, almost comparing the loss of the presidency with that. Aides of his in the audience were worried that this would be the first time somebody actually went bonkers on live national television. I mean, go back and look at it. A most amazing performance. But then again, this is the paradox of Nixon, and there is always a paradox in everyone, and indeed presidents. He waved his hand at like kind of, this is why I called you here. And he said the following: always remember, others may hate you, but those who hate you don't win unless you hate them, and then you destroy yourself. Now think of the wisdom at that moment. He identified it. He said, he realized that it was hate. Hate was the piston in his presidency. Listen to those tapes, and it is just so much hate. Let's use all the mechanisms of the federal government to get our enemies. The sadness of Nixon is not just the crimes, the abuse of power. If you listen to enough of those tapes, as I have, there's a dog that doesn't bark. And no one ever says, what does the country need? What would be good for the country? It was always about Nixon using this power as an instrument of personal revenge. And so the real tragedy of Nixon is the smallness. Did not understand the great things that presidents can do and the incredible power. I think it's even increasing today. I think Clinton had more power than Reagan, and I think Bush had more power than Clinton, and I think that Obama actually has more power than George W. Bush. Incredible concentration of power in the presidency. And so at this moment, Nixon realized that it was hate. And if you go look at the other presidents, as I have tried, there are lots of flaws, lots of problems, lots of mistakes, but it's not hate. There is not that venom that was in the Nixon presidency, in all of these presidencies, whether you, after Nixon, certainly not Ford, certainly not Carter, certainly not Reagan, certainly not Bush Sr., certainly not Clinton. His problem was love. Certainly not George W. Bush, and certainly not Obama.